We're talking citrus, folks, and I'm standing next to an Allendale mandarin. Beautiful little specimen. Considering where we are, we've got a few weeds around them, catnip growing at the bottom. This is a raised bed, so we've got really good drainage, and it does dehydrate quite regularly, but they do get a water daily. They need this daily here for this environment. You check your trees to see how well they hold their moisture, and if they need a daily water, by all means give it one. Now this one's ready for a top up, but before we talk about topping up the soil and all things like that, which we know how to do, let's talk about pruning, because a lot of people are confused about the pruning of a citrus tree. We don't cut them like a fruit tree, open vase shape, or a champagne glass. We don't create that void in the middle where you get the good airflow through it. You don't want that, because it will dry it out. Citrus trees need a little bit of density, not overly dense to the point where there's no airflow, but just enough so that they can cool themselves down with the moisture in their foliage that they have. So the idea is to allow the bush to grow and then just thin it out a little bit in the middle. But how do you thin it out? Well, you get your secateurs and you start pruning. But be careful, never prune too much, because you prune too much, you'll lose all this wonderful fruit down here. See that stuff there? And I don't mean by pruning them off by accident, I mean by that when you prune a citrus tree really hard in the one go, you will cause it to react almost immediately to grow. It'll sport out in all sorts of directions, as you see right here. You don't want that happening, and what happens then is the tree needs to go through another whole cycle of life, which being a year's worth, before it can start fruiting again. So when it comes to pruning, my advice, this is what I do, and it works pretty well for me, is prune regularly throughout the year, smaller amounts. And that's what we're going to do here now in demonstration. Rather than one big hard prune, do a small prune and continue doing it on a monthly, bi-monthly or quarterly basis. That way the tree doesn't go into shock, and you've always got fruit coming on throughout the year as we want it to be. So in this case here, what are we doing? Well, all this upright growth is going to be very non-productive. This is establishing the new structure of the tree. That's what the tree is doing. It's going up there for where the sun is, because as the sun lowers, we get shadow down here. The tree naturally wants to grow tall, as all trees do. We don't want it to grow that big, so I'm going to bring it down, because these branches, as I said earlier, upright produce no or little or no fruit. They will produce side laterals here, or laterals as such, and they will produce fruit, but we don't want them up there. We want to keep them down. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this one completely off. So let's find out where it starts. Look at that. It's come out of the side down there. Right there from the side and grown straight up. So let me get my secateurs in position. And a good way to cut it is square to the growth of the branch. So if it's growing out that way, 90 degrees or perpendicular to it, and cut it off. Just like that there. That's the best way to cut your branches close to any trunk. That's an upright branch we don't need. Now, if we compare this to a few other ones, we've got another one here, you can see that there. Now, close attention to this one. This isn't a new growth, this is old growth that's been allowed to establish, because we've got multiple branches here. So that is not a male. That's what I call them, folks. That's my choice of words in describing this. They are productive branches there for you, whereas this one here isn't. And it started off, if you come around here, have a look at this. We've got a branch that's overlapped facing back into the middle there, and over the same branch down here is this one growing straight up. It's quite messy. What I'm going to do, because I don't need it in there, this is what I mean about rubbing and getting too close. Cut them off. I can either do that, and that's gone, but because that's going straight up and it means nothing to me, it's going to do absolutely nothing. See where it starts from down here? Now we can cut it here and say that's good, but we're causing that to want to grow again. So let's get rid of it down here, nice and close to where it starts. Done. That's number two. That's two cuts really, technically. Third one, well, it looks like this one here. It's sported out from down here below. You can see it's got all its lime green branch there. It's triangular formation, still a young branch as we get older, or to the top I should say. So that there is really, well, it may produce fruit because you've got multiple branching going. It's not bad. It's sort of a, this one here, we can just do that if we like and sort of work with that. But see the size of these beautiful luscious leaves. I know they're cupping up a little bit, but on the beautiful early morning, they'll be opened up and they're going to stretch out a bit more. I personally want the tree to stay this high, about there. I've got shoots coming off here. See that? 1, 2, right there, just in case you can't see them. There they are. And what have we got there? Burnt leaf. That's okay. So these will grow a little bit more and got the potential of producing fruit. So off you come. That's 3. Oh, aesthetics. We're looking at aesthetics. We can just do that, and we can just take, well, this one is doing the same thing. That's going to keep stretching. These are going to stretch out too much for me. If I take them off completely, that's got the fruit. So, oh, have I got the heart? Yes, I have, because it's too close. Come and have a look at this. See, these branches are growing side by side, up next to each other. That's okay while they're young, eh? But when they get thicker, they're going to be so close to each other, which is not a good thing. So we take that off completely. We've thinned it out a little bit, haven't we? Now what we need is something in here to grow, but not to stretch out. We just want this to bush out. We've got a couple of branches here. See this little one over here and this one over here? That will grow out. We don't need a lot. We've got this one. We're going to have to thin it out a little bit later. Just leave it for now. That's not doing any damage. There's fruit on top of that. We're okay with this. That's as much as you need to prune off this tree. You can be pedantic and try and get it down to the perfect shape and size, but the more of this you do, the more of this it's going to do. Have a look at this one over here. As you can see from the shape and the angle it's on, that's where all the wind comes from. It's been blowing in here, but look, we've got new growth. It's fighting back the tree. It's a healthy, healthy tree. We've got lots of flowers, bare soil underneath because the darn rabbits are constantly digging up around here, and you can see it. They love it. Thankfully, they haven't ring-barked this one. I shouldn't speak about that too loudly, but again, we've got space in the middle. We've got a bit of airflow in there. We've got lots of flowers coming on, lots of good new growth, and we should have leaf miner on here as well, if I'm not mistaken, because with every new growth on every little citrus tree, there's always going to be, am I finding it? Yes, I am. Where there's new growth, guaranteed to always have leaf miner. They're the signs and symptoms. Little squiggly lines. Now, overall, the tree is super, super healthy. Honestly, it does very little damage to the tree, apart from deforming the new leaves like that. Look, if it's severe, it will destroy all your new growth, and that stunts the tree's ability to grow. But if it's only minor, like a few leaves, and you can see overall the tree's looking healthy, leave it alone, folks. Honestly, leave it alone. Maybe a prune here. Look, I've just noticed we've got a caterpillar here, or had a caterpillar. Look, it's been chomped, but that's just that little growth there. It hasn't gone to the old leaves, just the new succulent leaves, a few of them here. These are all clear. Look at the amount of fruit on here. You reckon it's my fertilizer that does that? If you haven't got a citrus tree in your garden, folks, get one in. Even in a pot, you can get dwarf varieties that don't have a deep root system, and they'll grow quite happily for a long time. So citrus trees in every garden, lemon trees especially, and this is actually just reminds me, if you haven't read my article yesterday, if you're watching this as it's been uploaded, have a look at that as well. It's all about fruit. What are we really eating? That's all I'm going to say. Other than that, get your trees in the ground or give them a light prune this time of year, clean them up. They should be in flower and setting fruit as well. VasilisGarden.com. I'll be in Thebarton this Saturday, folks, so put it in your diary. If you're in South Australia, you haven't seen me for a while, we'll pop down to 103 Port Road in Thebarton from the morning, 9 a.m. till about 2 p.m. I'll remind you again tomorrow. Check out VasilisGarden.com. That's where I am. From me, Vasili, Maresi.